శ్రీ మహాగణాధిపతయే నమః. ఓం శ్రీ మహాగణాధిపతయే నమః. ఓం శ్రీ మహాగణాధిపతయే నమః. జై శ్రీరామ్. ఓం నమో భగవతే వాసుదేవాయ. ఓం నమో భగవతే వాసుదేవాయ. ఓం నమో భగవతే వాసుదేవాయ. హరే రామ్ 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 హరే హరే. హరే కృష్ణ 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 హరే హరే. హరే రామ్ 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 హరే హరే. హరే కృష్ణ 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 హరే హరే. శ్రీమద్ భాగవతం మధుర సుధామృషధార. That Pavana mantra is the story of about my some words to the best of my knowledge. The human beings of the Kali Yuga performed the rituals not to Yajnayaga and pleasure you gave to us. You have made the Bhagavat Kadamrita presented for us. It is not to be said that the fortune of those who listened to the stories of the incarnation of Adinarayana is this much. God is partial to selfless and sincere devotees. True devotees do not want anything from God. This is the characteristics of Parabhaktas left by God. God himself determines what such devotees need to give that whenever and whatever. In the same way as Sri Mahavishnu sacrificed the humanity by the three baths of Lord Vishnu's feet, the darshan of the Ganga water, the divine character of that God also humbles those who ask and those who listen to those who speak. What a human being should know from Bhagavat. Srimad Bhagavatam, also known as the Bhagavata Purana, is one of the most important and influential Hindu scriptures. It is a comprehensive guide to spiritual knowledge and describes the stories and teachings of Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and his devotees. The book consists of 12 cantos, and each canto contains several chapters. The Bhagavata Purana is considered to the highest of all Vedic literature, as it contains the most direct and intimate descriptions of God and his pastimes. It is also known as the Panchama Veda or the fifth Veda, as it is believed to be an essential supplement to the four Vedas. The greatness of the Bhagavata Purana lies in its ability to present profound philosophical truths in a simple and accessible manner. It emphasizes the importance of devotion and surrender to God as the ultimate goal of life, and provides practical guidance on how to attain that goal. It is said that just by hearing or reading the Bhagavata Puran, one can purify one's heart and attain spiritual liberation. Knowing the Bhagavata Purana is important for anyone who wants to understand the essence of Hindu philosophy and spirituality. It provides a comprehensive understanding of the nature of God, the soul, and the material world, and offers practical guidance on how to live a meaningful and fulfilling life. It also describes the path of devotional service, which is considered the easiest and most effective means of attaining spiritual enlightenment in this age. In summary, the Bhagavata Puran is priceless treasure of spiritual knowledge and wisdom, and knowing about it can greatly benefit one's spiritual journey. The chapter titles of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. In the first canto, questions by the sages, divinity and divine service. Krishna is the source of all incarnations. Appearance of Sri Narada. Narada's instructions on Srimad Bhagavat for Vyasadeva. Conversion between Narada and Vyasadeva, the son of Drona, punished. Prayers by Queen Kunti and Parikshit saved. The passing away of Bhishmadev in the presence of Lord Krishna. departure of Lord Krishna for Dwaraka, Lord Krishna's entrance into Dwaraka, birth of Emperor Parikshit, Dhritarashtra quits home, the disappearance of Lord Krishna, the Pandavas retired timely. This helps. If you have any further questions, ask Shukdev. The second canto of Srimad Bhagavat. The first step in God realization, the Lord in the heart, pure devotional service, the change in heart, the process of creation, the cause of all causes, the Purusha avatars, scheduled incarnations with specific functions, questions by King Parikshit, answers by citing the Lord's version, Bhagavatam is the answer to all questions. The appearance of the Lord's incarnation, the topics of Srimad Bhagavatam summarized. The glories of Srimad Bhagavat. Freedom has never existed for living beings. They are all theists. Theology is insidious. It has no rules. Divine Tantra is called karma. The bodies are the fruits of Panchabhutatmaka. Those hosts are also used as karmajas. It is seen that when a pot is made of clay, it takes shape, and when the pot is when broken, only the cell shape changes. But the soil, which is the basis of the cell structure, does not change. What does this simply? Before the formation of the pot, when the pot is formed, when the pot is destroyed, in the third place, sand is present as it is. This method is known as Trikalatmaka, and the potter brings Anna and forms its form and name according to his will. Such information is called creation. The destruction of those forms is called layam. Similarly, God is giving universal form to the soul material. The universe is nothing but the vastness of various forms of nature. Before the formation of those forms, when they are formed, and again when they are destroyed, the soul remains unevolved. Even this third place, that material does not have production facilities. Those who cannot understand this secret, they are subject to happiness and sorrows due to the destruction of the body, due to the perception of difference in body consciousness. The pain is called culture, another feature. Forms are given different names depending on their uses. It should be known that the same is the case with bodies. The importance of third kanta. Vidura talks with Maitreya, remembrance of Lord Krishna, the Lord's pastimes of Vrindavan. Vidura approaches Maitreya, Vidura's marriage, understanding material nature, further inquires by Vidura, manifestation of Brahma for Garbhodakasaya Vishnu, Brahma's prayer from creative energy, divisions of the creations, calculation of time from the atom, creation of the Kumaras and others, the appearance of Lord Varaha, pregnancy of Diti in the evening, description of the kingdom of God, the two doorkeepers of Vaikunta, Jaya and Vijaya, cursed by the sages Sanakasa, Sananda, Sanat Kumara, Sanat Sujata, victory of Hiranyaksha over all the directions of the universe, the battle between Lord Bor and the demon Hiranyaksha, the killing of the demon Hiranyaksha, conversation between Maitreya and Vidura. The fourth kanta, genealogical table of the daughters of Manu. Daksha curses Lord Shiva, talks between Lord Shiva and Sati. Sati quits her body, frustration of the sacrifice of Daksha. Brahma satisfies Lord Shiva. The sacrifice performed by Daksha. Dhruva Maharaj leaves home for the forest. Dhruva Maharaja returns home. Dhruva Maharaja's fight with Yakshas. Dhruvopakhyanam. Swayambhu Manu advises Dhruva Maharaja to stop fighting. Dhruva Maharaja goes back to Godhead. Description of the descendants of Dhruva Maharaj. The story of King Puranjana. The king Puranjana goes to the forest to hunt, and his queen becomes angry. How the external energy acts. The character of Bharata Maharaja, King Bharata's lifelong obligation. The passing away of Jadabharata, studying the structure of the universe. All karmas are of two types, auspicious and inauspicious, depending on the auspiciousness of the intention of the karmanushtana. Just as auspicious results have virtues, bad results have hellish consequences. There are innumerable differences in the two paths depending on the differences of attention. In the fifth canto, the activities of Maharaja Priyavrata, the activities of Maharaja Agnidhara, description of Dhruvaloka, the characteristics of Ravana, Lord Rishajeva teachings to his sons, the activities of Lord Rishabhadeva, Lord Rishabhadeva teachings to his sons, the character of Jadabharata, the supreme character of Jadabharata, conversation between Maharaja Rahugana and Jadabharata, conversation between Maharaja Rahugana and Jadabharata. Jadabharata instructs King Rahugana. The topics of Srimad Bhagavatam summarized. Further talks between King Rahugana and Jadabharata. The material world as the great forest of enjoyment. Parasurama, the Lord's warrior incarnation. Lord Parasurama destroys the world's ruling class. Mahabharat, the eternal history of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The prayers of offered to the Lord by the resident of Jambudvipa, a description of the island of Jambudvipa. When the results of karma are severe, you should block any object and reduce the intensity of sorrow. You don't need to search for that object. The results of karma will dissolve in him. So there is no better protection than surrendering in Bhagavat. There is no better practice than seeking the refuge of God. The story of Gajendra who surrendered to you, the story of Ajamilu who was a great sinner, the story of Prahlada who danced your name in the mouth of enemies, the success of Devahuti, the salvation of Jadabharata, the salvation of Katwangu, 1, 2, 3, etc. I can praise the merits of your avatar. You appeared as Lord Rama in the pretense of lifting up the living creature. You became an abomination to the pious Pandavas. You appeared as gold in the arms of the innocent Yadavas. You destroyed Parashurama and the madden Kshatriyas. In the sixth canto, the history of the life of Ajamila. Ajamila delivered by the Vishnudutas, Yamaraja instructs his messengers. The Hamsa Guha prayers of offered to the Lord by Prajapati Daksha, Narada Muni cursed by Prajapati Daksha, the pregnancy of the daughters of Daksha, Indra offends his spiritual master Brahaspati, the Narayana Kapsa shield appearance of the demon Vritsasura, the battle between the demigods and the demons, the transcendental qualities of Vritasura, the killing of Vritasura, King Indra affected by significant reaction, King Chitraketu's lamentation, the saints Narada and Angirata instructs King Chitraketu, King Chitraketu meets the Supreme Lord, Mother Parvati curses Chitraketu, Diti vows to kill King Indra, performing the Pumsavana ritualistic ceremony, conversation between Maitreya and Vidra. Oh God, your omnipresence is that fire is your face, earth is your foot, sun is your eye, space is your navel, directions are your eyes, sun is your head, sounds are your shoulders, seas are your cup, air is your life, medicine is your hair, trees are your hair, clouds are your hair, and mountains are your shoulders. Hastinakas Habos are your elids. Prajapati is your womb. Rain is your semen. In the eighth canto, the Supreme Lord is equal to everyone. Hiranyakshipu, king of the demons. Hiranyakashipu's plan to become immortal. Hiranyakashipu terrorized the universe. Prahlada Maharaja, the saintly son of Hiranyakashipu. Prahlada Maharaja, the best among exaggerated devotees. What Prahlada learned in the womb, Lord Nrsimhadeva slays the king of the demons. Prahlada pacifies Lord Nrsimhadeva with prayers. Prahlada, the best among the exalted devotees. The perfect society, four spiritual classes and four social orders. The perfect society, casteless and illuminated. The behavior of a perfect person. Ideal family life. Instructions for civilized human beings. Praise of King Prithu by the professional recipient. Maharaja Prithu becomes angry at the earth. Maharaja Ritu milks the earth planet. King Prithu's 100 horse sacrifice. Lord Vishnu's appearance in the sacrificial arena of Maharaja Ritu in the ninth canto. The Manus, administrators of the universe. The elephant Gajendra's crisis. Gajendra's prayers of surrender. Gajendra returns to the spiritual world. The demigods appeal to the Lord for protection. The killing of the demon Hiranyaksha. The killing of the demon Keshi. The churning of the milk ocean. The Lord incarnates as Mohini Murti. The battle between the demigods and the demons. The story of King Raga. The dynasty of Maharaja Nimi. Dhruva Maharaja goes back to Godhead. The story of King Pururava. Bali Maharaja conquers the heaviness planets, executing the Peyo Rata process of worship. The Supreme Lord agrees to become Aditi's son. Lord Vamanadeva, the Dwarfa incarnation. Bali Maharaja surrenders the universe. Conversation between Bali and Vamanadev. Bhagavatars are temporal and therefore infinite. Who can say about the infinite? Therefore, it is not anyone's generation to say Shakalavatara Gunakarmas. It is possible to count the participles of earth by laboring for years, but it is not possible to count the attributes of God, because all qualities are pleasures of power. God is the refuge of the Almighty. When and in what manner His power acts is beyond imagination. Let me briefly describe the Bhagavad-avataras. God first created the Panchabhutas. Brahman was formed due to the combination of these demons. Lord entered that egg with Swamsa. Then a form was formed. The form is also known as Narayana Murti. This is the first incarnation of God. It is not for God's pleasure to enter the universe in this way. That is the Leela Vishesham shown by the Lord for the enjoyment of the pious beings who are absorbed in Him in the flood. In the 10th canto, the dynasty of Amsuman. The story of Indrajimma and Vidyapati. The Lord incarnates as the fish. The battle between Lord Boar and the demon Hiranyaksha. Lord Boar's pastimes and prayers. The killing of the demons Potana. The killing of Trinavarta, the wild wind demon. Lord Krishna shows the universal form within his mouth. Mother Yashoda binding Lord Krishna. The deliverance of Nalakuvara and Manigrava, the childhood pastimes of Krishna, the killing of the demon Aghasura, the stealing of the boys and calves by Brahma, Brahma's prayers to Lord Krishna, the killing of Dhenukasura, Krishna characteristics the serpent of Kailaya, the history of the life of Rishabhadeva, King Yayati regains his youth, Devahuti's lamentation and prayers, Lord Kapira's instructions on the execution of devotional service. Let me describe the attributes of the Lord in Virat Purushavataram. Bhavanavataram is not the body of Viranmurti. Due to the sense of the body, the senses of knowledge, knowledge with their physical appearance and their life, the bodility functions of the body were performed for the living beings. That is why he is called Adikarta and Adinarayan. In the 11th canto, the advent of Lord Krishna introduction, prayers by the demigods for Lord Krishna in the womb, the birth of Lord Krishna, the athletics of King Kamsa, the meeting of Nanda Maharaja and Vasudeva, Potana killed and other childhood pastimes, killing the demons Vatsasura and Bakasura, the killing of the Agasura demon, the stealing of the boys and slaves of Brahma, the deliverance of the Brahma Vimohana Leela, the childhood pastimes of Krishna, the killing of the Kesi demon, the stealing of the clothes of the unmarried gopi girls, prayers of the personified Vedas, killing the Dhenukasura demon, Krishna castigates the servant of Kailya, the history of the life of Rishabhadeva, prayers of King Mritu, Lord Vamanadeva, the Dwaraka incarnation, Bali Maharaja surrenders the universe, the Lord's glories beyond our knowing, the process of creation, the Aila Gita, the Subding of Kailya, the Lord Krishna shows the universal form within his mouth, the song of the bee, Lord Indra and Mother Shurabi offer prayers, Krishna rescues Nanda Maharaja from the abode of Varuna, the rasa dance, Krishna shows the universal form, the disappearance of the Yadu dynasty, the description of the prayers of Kunti, the killing of Sisupala, the reunion of Lord Krishna with the residents of Vrindavana, the Gopika's feelings of separation, the slaying of Aristasura, the killing of the Baldiman and Vatsasura, Akrora's arrival in Vrindavana, the rasa dance, Krishna enters Madhura, the breaking of the bow in the sacrificial arena, the killing of the elephant Kuvalayapeda, Krishna kills Kamsa, the meeting of Uddhava and Krishna, Krishna and Balarama leave for Dwaraka. In the 12th canto, the curse upon the Yadu dynasty, Maharaja Nimi meets and 9 Yogendras, liberation from the illusory energy. Drumila explains the incarnation of Godhead to King Nimi. Narada concludes his teachings to Vasudeva. The Yadu dynasty retires to Prabhasa. Lord Krishna instructs Uddhava. The story of Pingala, detachment from all that is material, the nature of flotative activity, the symptoms of continental and liberated living entities beyond renunciation and knowledge, the Hamsa Guhya prayers, Lord Krishna explains the yoga system to Sri Uddhava, Lord Krishna's description of mystic yoga perfections, the Lord's opulence, Lord Krishna's descriptions of the Varnasrama Dharma, description of Varnasrama Dharma, devotional service of surpages of all liberation, pure devotional service surpasses knowledge and detachment, and Lord Krishna's explanation of the Vedic path and enumeration of the elements of material creation, and the song of the Avanti Brahmana, the philosophy of Sankhya, the three models of natures and beyond, and fundamental principles of material nature, and Lord Krishna instructs us of the process of deity worship and Jnana Yoga and Bhakti Yoga, and Krishna instructions on the movement of the sun, and Lord Krishna's entrance into Dwaraka, the reunion of the Lord with the inhabitants of Dwaraka, the description of the hellish planets, the story of Sudama Vipra, the gopis' feelings of separation, the slaying of Aristasura, the killing of the bull demon and Vatsasura across arrival in Vrindavan. The 12th canto, the degraded dynasty of Kali Yuga, the symptoms of Kali Yuga, the Bhumi Guta, the four-armed form Krishna, the glory Krishna's name, Maharaja Parikshit passes away, the Puranic literatures, Markandeya's prayers to Naranarayana Rishi, and the dynasty of Yadu, and Lord Krishna's family, and Lord Krishna's daily activities, and the Gopi songs of separation, and the Bhumi Guta's reflection on Krishna's daily activities, and the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam, and the story of King Nimi and Navayogendra, and instructions for civilized human beings, and how Parikshit received the age of Kali, and punishment and reward of Kali, and the appearance of Sukadeva Goswami, and the beginning of Sukadeva Goswami's teachings, and the conversation between Sukadeva Goswami and Maharaja Parikshit, and the conversation between Maharaja Parikshit and Kali, and the process of Kali Yuga's progressionation, and Devahuti's story of enlightenment, and the philosophy of Sankhya, and the three models of nature and beyond, and fundamental principles of material nature, and the activities of the Supreme Lord in his various incarnations, and Jadabharata instructs Maharaja Rahugana and talks between Narada and King Prasibarsa Prachinabarhi, the activities of the Parsita and Narada instructions of the Parasirit. The devotional service of Maharaja Dhruva and Dhruva Maharaja goes back to Godhead and the Lord's pastimes of Vrindavana, and Lord the Gopis' feelings of separation, and the slaying of Harishasura, and the killing of the bull demon and Vatsasura, and Akrura arrival in Vrindavana, and the rasa dance, and Krishna enters Madura, and the breaking of the bow in the sacrificial arena, and the killing of the elephant Kovalayapida, and Krishna kills Kamsa, and the meeting of Uddhava and Krishna and Balarama leave for Dwaraka. Bhagavatam, also known as the Bhagavata Purana, is one of the most sacred and revered texts of the Vaishnava tradition. It is a Hindu scripture that consists of 12 volumes or cantos and is considered one of the 18 Mahapuranas. The Srimad Bhagavatam is a comprehensive work that covers a wide range of topics including cosmology, mythology, history, ethics, and spirituality. It focuses primarily on the life and teachings of Lord Krishna, one of the most beloved and revered deities in Hinduism. Text is believed to have been composed by the sage Vyasa, who is also credited with writing the epic Mahabharata. It is written in Sanskrit and is known for its poetic and literary style. Srimad Bhagavata is a sacred text in the Hindu religion that is considered to be one of the most important works of Vedavyasa, the compiler of the Vedas and other important Hindu scriptures. Vedavyasa is said to have composed the text in order to teach his son, Sukadeva Goswami, about the nature of the Supreme Being and the path of devotion. Srimad Bhagavatam consists of 12 cantos and over 18,000 verses, and it tells the story of the life of Lord Krishna, who is considered to be an incarnation of the Supreme Being. The text emphasizes the importance of devotion to God and the practice of Bhakti Yoga as the path to spiritual liberation. Sukadeva Goswami is said to have been an enlightened sage who learned the teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam directly from his father. Sukadeva Goswami is said to have been an enlightened sage who learned the teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam directly from his father. He is regarded as a great teacher of Bhakti Yoga and is revered as one of the foremost authorities on the teachings of the text. His teachings are still studied and followed by millions of devotees of Lord Krishna around the world. The Srimad Bhagavatam begins with a traditional invocation to Lord Vishnu, the preserver of the universe, and a prayer for his blessings. It then sets the scene by describing the setting of the narration, which is the forest of Naimisaranya in ancient India. The forest is described as a holy place where many sages and seekers of spiritual knowledge have gathered. According to Hindu mythology, Parikshit was a king in the Kuru dynasty and the grandson of Arjuna, one of the heroes of the Indian epic Mahabharata. After ruling for many years, one day while on a hunting trip, Parikshit encounters the powerful sage Samaika Maharshi and offers him a respectful greeting. However, the sage is so deep in meditation that he does not respond to the king's greeting. Parikshit, not realizing the sage's state, becomes angry and places a dead snake around the sage's neck as a punishment for his lack of response. Upon learning of the incident, Samaika's son, the sage of Srungi, becomes outraged and curses Parikshit, saying that he will die in 7 days from a snake bite. Parikshit realizes the gravity of his mistake and regrets his actions. He seeks out the wise and learned sages of Naimisaranya to find a solution to his impending death. During his travels, Parikshit met several sages and learned about the importance of devotion to God. He then went in search of the great sage Sukadeva Goswami, who was renowned for his knowledge of Srimad Bhagavat. The text shifts to the sages of Naimisaranya who have gathered to perform a sacred sacrifice to please the Lord and seek his blessings. They are approached by Parikshit who seeks their help in finding a way to avoid his curse. The sages then begin to narrate the Srimad Bhagavat to Parikshit, which contains the teachings of Lord Vishnu and the stories of his incarnations, including Lord Krishna. The narration of the Srimad Bhagavat is said to be the solution to Parikshit's predicament and is also meant to the benefit all those who hear it, as it contains the essence of spiritual knowledge. The Srimad Bhagavat begins with an introduction to the setting and the main characters and sets the stage for the narration of the text. The incident involving Parikshit and the curse sets the tone for the spiritual teachings that follow and highlights the importance of seeking spiritual knowledge and the grace of the Lord in one's life. When Parikshit finally found Sukadeva Goswami, he asked him to teach him about the nature of the Supreme Being and the path of devotion. Sukadeva Goswami agreed to teach him, and for 7 days he recited the entire text of Srimad Bhagavat to Parikshit. Parikshit listened to Sukadeva Goswami's teachings with great devotion and concentration. He asked many questions and clarified his doubts, and Sukadeva Goswami answered all of them with great patience and wisdom. By the end of the 7 days, Parikshit had gained a deep understanding of the teachings of Srimad Bhagavat and he became a great devotee of Lord Krishna. The story of Parikshit's encounter with Sukadeva Goswami and his subsequent enlightenment is considered to be one of the most important episodes in Hindu mythology. King Parikshit asked Sukadeva Goswami many important questions about the nature of the Supreme Being, the path of devotion, and the secrets of spiritual knowledge. Some of the key doubts and questions that Parikshit asked Sukadeva Goswami during the 7 day recitation of Srimad Bhagavat include: what is the ultimate goal of human life and how can it be achieved? What is the nature of the Supreme Being and how can we attain His grace and blessings? How can we overcome the illusions and distractions of material existence and focus our minds on spiritual pursuits? How can we cultivate the qualities of devotion, detachment, and wisdom in our lives? What is the true nature of the self and how can we realize our true identity as spiritual beings? How can we attain liberation from the cycle of birth and death and achieve eternal happiness and bliss? Sukadeva Goswami answered all of Parikshit's questions with great clarity and wisdom, using stories and anecdotes from the lives of great sages and devotees to illustrate his points. He emphasized the importance of devotion to God, the practice of meditation and self control, and the cultivation of spiritual knowledge and wisdom. Through his teachings, Sukadeva Goswami helped Parikshit to gain a deep understanding of the nature of the self and the ultimate reality and to attain spiritual enlightenment and liberation. During this time, Parikshit listened to Sukadeva Goswami's teachings with great devotion and concentration. He asked many questions and clarified his doubts, and Sukadeva Goswami answered all of them with great patience and wisdom. By the end of the 7 days, Parikshit had gained a deep understanding of the teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam and he became a great devotee of Lord Krishna. The story of Parikshit's encounter with Sukadeva Goswami and his subsequent enlightenment is considered to be one of the most important episodes in Hindu mythology. What is the ultimate goal of human life and how can it be achieved? Answered Sukadeva Goswami explained that the ultimate goal of human life is to attain the love of God and to serve Him with devotion. This can be achieved through the practice of Bhakti Yoga, which involves cultivating a deep and loving relationship with God through acts of devotion, such as prayer, meditation, and service. What is the nature of the Supreme Being and how can we attain His grace and blessings? Sukadeva Goswami explained that the Supreme Being is infinite, eternal, and all pervading. He is the source of all creation and the ultimate reality, who can attain His grace and blessings through devotion and surrender by offering our hearts and minds to Him in love and humility. How can we overcome the illusions and distractions of material existence and focus our minds on spiritual pursuits? Sukadev Goswami explained that we can overcome the illusions and distractions of material existence of cultivating detachment and developing deep understanding of the temporary nature of material pleasures. We should focus our minds on spiritual pursuits by practicing meditation, self control, and devotion to God. How can we cultivate the qualities of devotion, detachment, and wisdom in our lives? Sukadeva Goswami explained that we can cultivate the qualities of devotion, detachment, and wisdom by practicing the four pillars of Bhakti Yoga, which are hearing and chanting about God, remembering Him, serving Him, and surrendering to Him. By engaging in these practices with faith and sincerity, we can develop the qualities of devotion, detachment, and wisdom in our lives. What is the true nature of the self, and how can we realize our true identity as spiritual beings? Sukadeva Goswami explained that the true nature of the self is spiritual and that our true identity is as eternal souls, part and parcel of the Supreme Being. We can realize our true identity as spiritual beings by engaging in spiritual practicing such as meditation and devotion and by developing a deep understanding of the nature of the self and the supreme being. How can we attain liberation from the cycle of birth and death and achieve eternal happiness and bliss? Sukadeva Goswami explained that we can attain liberation from the cycle of birth and death and achieve eternal happiness and bliss by developing devotion to God and cultivating spiritual knowledge and wisdom. By practicing bhakti yoga and engaging in acts of devotion and service to God, we can purify our hearts and minds and ultimately attain liberation from the cycle of birth and death. The Srimad Bhagavat is highly regarded for its spiritual teachings and is often used as a guide for spiritual seekers. It teaches the path of Bhakti Yoga, which is the path of devotion and love for God. It stresses the importance of surrendering to God and developing a personal relationship with Him. The text has had a significant influence on Indian culture and has inspired numerous works of literature, music, and art. It is also widely studied and revered by scholars and practitioners of Hinduism worldwide. The Srimad Bhagavat is a sacred Hindu scripture that focuses on the life and teachings of Lord Krishna and teaches the path of Bhakti Yoga. It is highly regarded for its spiritual teachings and has had profound impact on Indian culture and Hinduism as a whole. There are several reasons why it is important for people to know about the Srimad Bhagavat. Spiritual knowledge. The Srimad Bhagavat is a repository of spiritual knowledge and wisdom. It teaches the path of Bhakti Yoga, which is the path of devotion and love for God. The text stresses the importance of surrendering to God and developing a personal relationship with Him. It provides guidance on how to live a life of moral and ethical values and how to attain spiritual liberation. Cultural significance. The Srimad Bhagavat has had a significant impact on Indian culture and has inspired numerous works of literature, music, and art. It is widely studied and revered by scholars and practitioners of Hinduism worldwide. Knowing about the Srimad Bhagavat can help people appreciate and understanding the rich cultural heritage of India. Personal growth. The teachings of the Srimad Bhagavat can help individuals on their personal growth and spiritual journey. The text provides insights into the nature of the self and the universe and offers practice guidance on how to lead a meaningful and fulfilling life. In summary, the Srimad Bhagavat is an important and revered text in the Hindu tradition that contains spiritual knowledge, has cultural significance, and can help individuals on their personal growth and spiritual journey. Therefore, it is beneficial for people to know about the Srimad Bhagavat. Isn't this philosophy? Yes, the Srimad Bhagavat is an important philosophical text in the Vaishnava tradition of Hinduism. It presents a comprehensive philosophy of life that encompasses metaphysics, ethics, and spirituality. The text presents a metaphysical view of the universe that sees the material world as a temporary manifestation of the divine energy of Lord Vishnu, who is the ultimate reality and the sources of all existence. The text also explores the nature of the self and the soul and explains the concept of incarnation and karma. The Srimad Bhagavat also provides guidance on how to live a life of moral and ethical values. It stresses the importance of developing virtues such as compassion, kindness, honesty, and self control. The text also presents the path of Bhakti Yoga as the means to attain spiritual liberation and achieve union with the divine. The Srimad Bhagavat offers many benefits to human life. Here, here are some of the ways in which it can benefit individuals. Bhagavan. Spiritual growth. The Srimad Bhagavat is a spiritual text that can help individuals grow his spirituality. It provides insights into the nature of the self and the universe and offers practical guidance on how to attain spiritual liberation. By following the teachings of Srimad Bhagavat, individuals can develop a deeper understanding of themselves and their relationship with the divine. Moral and ethical values of Bhagavat. The Srimad Bhagavat stresses the importance of living a life of moral and ethical values. It provides guidance on how to develop virtues such as compassion, kindness, honesty, and self control. By following these values, individuals can lead a meaningful and fulfilling life. Inner peace. The Srimad Bhagavat can help individuals find inner peace and tranquility. By practicing meditation and developing a personal relationship with the divine, individuals can overcome stress, anxiety, and other negative emotions. Cultural understanding. The Srimad Bhagavat has had a significant impact on Indian culture and has inspired numerous works of literature, music, and art. By studying the text, individuals can gain a deeper understanding and appreciation of Indian culture. Interpersonal relationships. The Srimad Bhagavat teaches the importance of developing positive relationships with others. By cultivating virtues such as compassion, kindness, and forgiveness, individuals can improve their relationships with others and create a more harmonious society. Overall, the Srimad Bhagavat offers many benefits to human life, including spiritual growth, moral and ethical values, inner peace, cultural understanding, and improved interpersonal relationships. By the following the teachings of the text, individuals can lead a more meaningful and fulfilling life. What types of ethics? The Srimad Bhagavat presents a comprehensive ethical framework that emphasizes the importance of living a life of moral values and virtues. Here are some of the ethical values that are emphasized in the text. Ahimsa, non-violence. The Srimad Bhagavat stresses the importance of non-violence towards all living beings. It teaches that one should not harm or kill any living being and should instead cultivate compassion and kindness towards all. The Srimad Bhagavat emphasizes the importance of truthfulness. It teaches that one should always speak the truth and avoid lying, deceit, and hypocrisy. The Srimad Bhagavat stresses the importance of honesty. It teaches that one should be honest in all their dealings and should avoid cheating, stealing, and corruption. The Srimad Bhagavat emphasizes the importance of self control. It teaches that one should control their senses and desires and cultivate inner strength and discipline. Compassion. The Srimad Bhagavata stresses the importance of compassion towards all living beings. It teaches that one should be kind and empathetic towards others and one should avoid causing harm or suffering. The Srimad Bhagavat emphasizes the importance of forgiveness. It teaches that one should forgive those who have wronged them and should avoid holding grudges or seeking revenge. The Srimad Bhagavat stresses the importance of selfless service. It teaches that one should serve others without expecting anything in return and should cultivate a spirit of generosity and altruism. Overall, the Srimad Bhagavat presents a comprehensive ethical framework that emphasizes the importance of living a life of moral values and virtues. By following these ethical values, individuals can lead a more meaningful and fulfilling life and contribute to the greater good of society. who followed the Srimad Bhagavat in the past and what were they got it. Throughout history, many individuals have followed the teachings of the Srimad Bhagavat and have found spiritual, moral, and ethical guidance in its teachings. Here are some examples of individuals who have followed the teachings of the Srimad Bhagavat. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a 16th century saint and social reformer who is considered one of the greatest exponents of the Bhakti Yoga tradition. He is known for spreading the teachings of the Srimad Bhagavat and for his devotional practices. Swami Prabhupada. Swami Prabhupada was the founder of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness and was instrumental in popularizing the teachings of the Srimad Bhagavat in the West. His translations and commentaries on the text have been widely read and studied by followers of Bhakti Yoga tradition. Vallabhacharya. Vallabhacharya was a 15th century philosopher and theologian who founded the Pushtimarga, a devotional tradition that emphasizes the worship for Lord Krishna. His teachings were strongly influenced by the Srimad Bhagavat. Mirabai was a 16th century Rajput princess and poet who is considered one of the greatest exponents of the Bhakti Yoga tradition. Her poetry is deeply influenced by the teachings of the Srimad Bhagavat and she is known for her devotion to Lord Krishna. Overall, these individuals and many others have found spiritual, moral, and ethical guidance in the teaching of the Srimad Bhagavat. They have used its teachings to deepen their spiritual practice, develop virtues such as compassion and kindness, and live a more meaningful and fulfilling life. The Srimad Bhagavad is a vast and complex text that covers a wide range of topics related to spirituality, morality, and ethics. Here are some additional points to know about the text. Structure. The Srimad Bhagavata is divided into 12 cantos or chapters, each of which is further divided into several sections. The text contains a total of 335 chapters and over 18,000 verses. The Srimad Bhagavat is traditionally attributed to the sage Vyasa, who is also credited with writing the Mahabharata and other important Hindu texts. The Srimad Bhagavat explores a wide range of themes, including the nature of the divine, the purpose of human life, the importance of moral and ethical values, and the role of spiritual practice in attaining liberation. The Srimad Bhagavat emphasizes the importance of devotion as the primary means of attaining spiritual liberation. It also stresses the importance of living a life of moral and ethical values such as truthfulness, compassion, and self control. The Srimad Bhagavat is one of the most important texts in the Hindu tradition and is widely studied and revered by followers of the Bhakti Yoga tradition. Its teachings have also influenced the development of other spiritual traditions such as the Hare Krishna movement. Philosophical implications. The Srimad Bhagavat is often interpreted as presenting a monistic or non-dualistic philosophy, which emphasizes the onlyness of the individual self and the divine. This interpretation is influenced by the teachings of the Advaita Vedanta school of Hindu philosophy. Overall, the Srimad Bhagavata is a rich and complex text that has played an important role in the development of Hindu philosophy, spirituality, and culture. Its teachings continue to inspire and guide spiritual seekers around the world. In the Srimad Bhagavata, some stories here are given. Summaries. Gajendra Moksham is a famous story from the Hindu scripture Srimad Bhagavat. It narrates the tale of an elephant named Gajendra who was the king of a herd of elephants in a forest. Once, while taking a bath in a lake, Gajendra was attacked by a crocodile who had clamped onto his leg. Despite Gajendra's valiant efforts, he was unable to free himself from the crocodile's grip. As the struggle continued, Gajendra remembered the Lord Vishnu and began to offer prayers to him. The Lord was moved by Gajendra's devotion and appealed before him to rescue him. In the story of Gajendra Moksham, the Lord's act of saving Gajendra is seen as an example of his compassion and grace towards his devotees. The story also highlights the importance of faith and devotion towards the Lord as a means to overcome obstacles and attain spiritual liberation. The story of Gajendra Moksham is often recited as a prayer and is considered to be a powerful source of inspiration and spiritual guidance for followers of the Hindu faith. What was the flashback reason by crocodile and elephant named Gajendra? How does pray about Lord Vishnu for save from crocodile and how does then Vishnu situation then describe as detailed, please? According to the story of Gajendra Moksham from Srimad Bhagavatam, the crocodile who attacked Gajendra was actually a Gandharva, celestial being named Uhu, who had been cursed by the sage Devala to become a crocodile due to his arrogant behavior towards the sage. In order to be freed from the curse, Huhu had to be released from the grip of a strong and powerful being, and thus he chose Gajendra as his victim. As the struggle between Gajendra and Uhu continued, Gajendra realized that he was unable to free himself and that he was facing certain death. In his moment of despair, he remembered his past life as a king named Indradyumna and his devotion to Lord Vishnu. He began to pray to the Lord, reciting the famous prayer known as the Gajendra Stuti. Moved by Gajendra's devotion, Lord Vishnu appeared before him in all his glory, riding on his eagle Garuda. The Lord used his Sudarshana Chakra as spinning disc-like weapon to sever the crocodile's head, thus freeing Gajendra from his grasp. In the story, Lord Vishnu is described as being adorned with various ornaments, a crown, and a dazzling aura. His presence is said to have filled the lake with a divine light, and his compassion towards Gajendra is seen as an example of his infinite love for his devotees. After saving Gajendra, Lord Vishnu blessed him with liberation from the cycle of birth and death, and the elephant king attained moksha, salvation. The story of Gajendra Moksham from Srimad Bhagavat holds great significance and benefits for those who read, hear, and contemplate upon it. Some of the benefits of this story are the story of Gajendra Moksha serves as a source of inspiration for devotees of Lord Vishnu as it highlights the power of devotion and prayer in times of difficulty and adversity. The story emphasizes the importance of surrendering to the Lord and seeking His grace to attain spiritual liberation from the cycle of birth and death. The story teaches the importance of having faith and trust in the Lord, as Gajendra's unwavering faith and devotion towards Lord Vishnu ultimately led to his liberation. The story portrays Lord Vishnu as a compassionate and merciful deity who is always ready to help his devotees in times of need. This aspect of the Lord's nature serves as a source of the comfort and solace to those who seek his help. The story also contains moral lessons on the consequences of arrogance, pride, and ego, as seen in the fate of the Gandharva who was cursed to become a crocodile due to his misbehavior towards a sage. Overall, the story of Gajendra Moksha is a powerful and inspiring tale that teaches valuable spiritual lessons and serves as a source of inspiration and guidance for devotees of Lord Vishnu. Another sample story of Kuchelopakyanam. The Kuchelopakyanam story is a popular tale from Hindu mythology that is found in the Bhagavata Purana. It tells the story of Kuchela, also known as Sudama, who was a childhood friend of Lord Krishna. Kuchela was born into a poor family and had to struggle to make ends meet, while Lord Krishna was the prince of the prosperous city of Madura. One day, Kuchela's wife urged him to seek help from Lord Krishna, who had once been his childhood friend. Kuchela was hesitant to ask for help but ultimately decided to visit Lord Krishna, carrying with him a humble gift of some flattened rice poha as a token of his friendship. When Kuchela reached Madura, he was awestruck by the opulence of the city and the palace of Lord Krishna. He felt ashamed of his humble gift and was hesitant to offer it to the Lord. However, Lord Krishna received Kuchela with great love and affection, and upon seeing the gift of flattened rice, he exclaimed with joy and consumed it with relish. In the story of Kuchorapakyanam, Lord Krishna's acceptance of the humble gift of flattened rice is seen as a symbol of his love and affection for his devotees, regardless of their social status of wealth. Kuchela's visit to Lord Krishna is also seen as an example of the power of devotion and faith in the Lord, as he received a boon of prosperity and wealth upon his return home. The story of Kuchelopakyanam is often recited to as a prayer and is considered to be a powerful source of inspiration and spiritual guidance for followers of the Hindu faith. It teaches the value of friendship, devotion, and humility, inspires devotees to seek the love and blessings of the Lord through acts of the selfless devotion and faith. And another summary of in Srimad Bhagavatam from Devahuti prayed about her son as Lord Vishnu born her abdomen. Devahuti was the daughter of Manu, a mythological figure in Hinduism. She was married to Kardama Muni, a great sage and the son of Lord Brahma. After many years of austerities, Devahuti and Kardama Muni had a son named Kapila Muni who was an incarnation of Lord Vishnu. In the Bhagavata Purana, Devahuti is described as having prayed to Lord Vishnu before and after giving birth to Kapila Muni. She was overwhelmed by the grace of the Lord and offered prayers in gratitude for the gift of her son. Before giving birth, Devahuti engaged in severe austerities to please Lord Vishnu. She chanted mantras and meditated on the Lord, and eventually Lord Vishnu was pleased with her devotion and appeared before her. The Lord blessed her with a vision of his divine form, and Devahuti was filled with joy and ecstasy. After giving birth to Kapila Muni, Devahuti once again offered prayers to Lord Vishnu. She expressed her gratitude to the Lord for the gift of her son, who was a great sage and a manifestation of his divine grace. Devahuti also requested Lord Vishnu to bless her son with the knowledge of the self and the ability to lead others on the path of rightness. Lord Vishnu was pleased with Devahuti's devotion and prayers, and he blessed Kapila Muni with the knowledge of the self, which became the basis of the Sankhya philosophy. Devahuti's prayers are seen as a symbol of mother's love and devotion for her child, as well as the power of prayer and Devahuti in seeking the grace of the Lord. Let me describe the attributes of the Lord in Virat Purushavataram. Bhavanavataram is not the body of Viranmurti due to the senses of the body, the senses of knowledge, knowledge with their physical appearance, and their life, the bodily functions of the body were formed for the living beings. That is why he is called Adikarta, Adikarta, and Adinarayan.